I learned to read music at 13. I had a $400 spinet my dad had bought. It was out of tune, of course, by the time I started playing. So we got old man Matthews to come to the house. I smelled his breath. I remember that distinctly. It was scotch. In the middle of the day, here's this guy in my house tuning my piano, and I thought, what a great job, you know, to have that ability. I thought, God, it's like being a professional golfer or a bowler. I wanted to tune in between his visits because I played 8 hours a day when I was that age in the summers, and the piano would just go out of tune. I went to UCLA. They had a course in piano technology, and from there I learned that you don't learn in a classroom. So they directed me to a master. I went to Mr. Morton in North Hollywood at Pacific Piano, and he taught me to tune, and I think I learned in a month and a half. I started then working in his shop, and I met all the tuners that were big in LA, and one of them, Donnie Johnson, was on 3 different bands' retainers. He was working with Chicago, Linda Ronstadt, and Boz Scaggs. Well, they all decided to go out that year, and he said, Steve, you're a tuner, right? He goes, I gotta do Chicago. Will you go do Boz Scaggs for me? And all of a sudden, I'm flying to Regina, Canada, major headlining tour, Boz Scaggs in 1978. The next one was Little River Band, and I did their live album. And then from there, Michael Jackson, Stevie Nicks, and then Paul McCartney and Queen. It all just, you know, trailed from that one time. And then it led to, you know, the next 26 years. In between continents, for holidays, they would send us home. And the smartest thing I did was to always keep the good clients that I had tuned during my breaks. And then the last time with McCartney was, oh, can you come out for 7 weeks? And he ended up staying out for 12 years. My children called me in rehearsals saying, Dad, it's not gonna work. You can't go out anymore. Once my kids said, don't go out anymore, I had that to get back to. So just keeping a relationship, keeping business moving, I always felt like was probably the most important thing that I did. To not just say, I'm gonna be a roadie. Because once I quit, then the natural progression was to make this a true business and get into the rebuilding. Because getting into having this amount of pianos in this shop and getting my boys involved now in rebuilding, it's been a great revelation that, you know, this is what I should have done years earlier. Because I was a tuner, I was a road tuner for so long, I never thought I'd have the patience to do the rebuilding, and yet I find it the most relaxing part of life. It's just, people are paying you to do it slowly and correctly.
It's all handwork.
Yeah, there's no hurry to screw up.
You gotta think, and you gotta be skillful, because there's one way to get it right and there's about a million ways to get it wrong.
I find it an honor to work on 100-year-old ivory that can go another 100 years. Particular pleasure to work on instruments that were made like this 1910 Steinway when there was not even a thought of making something junky. There are pianos being made today that I don't think will last 6 years if they're played vigorously, and would be a throwaway, because when something's made with pressed wood, you cannot rebuild it. People always tell me, well, how could a piano last that long? Well, you know, we're rebuilding pianos that are ostensibly brand new again and ready to go another 100 years. And people say, how's that possible? I thought, when did Stradivarius get made? 1650s. They're absolutely still viable instruments. When wood is protected, when a piano is indoors its whole life, there is no degradation any more than a guitar. You put new strings on it, you reset the wood, you reseal it, and you're good to go. If they have the craftsmanship of the last turn of the century, they're worth keeping. All those that are survivors are going to be
multiplying in value. While modern manufacturing has been a Jenga game of, can we take this out and still call it a piano? Can we, yeah, let's get rid of this, let's move that, let's change this to that, let's synthesize something instead of using a natural product. And the answer is zero. You can take zero away from how it was done correctly and then expect it to still be a perfect piano. The joy of working on the instruments of when craftsmanship was king is its own reward. As a player, the reward is in then getting to play it.
After 7 years, you're an expert. After 40 years, it's ridiculous. I breathe and the piano goes into tune.